Last problem. So we are going to look at another real life sort of situation. This situation has to do with fence building. It might be hard to read this. It's small handwriting, so I'm going to try to explain it best as possible. When it comes down to it, the fence around my backyard is starting to fall into disrepair. And so my husband and I have been talking. We need to repair it probably over the next 3 years. It needs to be taken care of. So this year is probably not in the books, but we're going to pretend it is. Okay. Here it is. I need to replace the fence around my backyard over the next summer. One company charges a flat rate for materials, about $2,000, and then they charge $200 per foot. Another company charges based on the table below. So here's their information. If I were to do it all the work myself and rent and buy all the materials, the fence would cost about $25,000. This is a rough number. We haven't actually priced everything out. Some of the things that we would have to maybe get and figure out are some various tools, and we'd have to figure out if we want to rent or buy them. We don't know if, depending on how long this ends up taking, if we want to actually just buy them and not pay the rental fee and then maybe sell them afterwards. So this $25,000 may be a little shaky. At the same time, I think it's a pretty good estimate. So which one is the better deal? The question is really how much fence do I need would help me dictate which one is the better deal. But just with the blanket statement of which one is the better deal, let's figure out which one is a better deal in various situations. So let's first look at this. We have this one company here that has essentially the basis of an equation. If I were to look at mine, I can actually graph mine. No matter what, if I did mine, I would have a $25,000 cost. So I'm going to say this is $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $35,000, and so on. So mine would cost me $25,000 if I were to do it myself, period. I don't have to pay for labor, so I don't have that, or anything like that. I don't have to pay per foot. I'm just going to be paying $25,000. So if this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25,000, mine, I can easily graph as just a horizontal line. It would cost me $25,000, period. So if my fence were short, like 5 feet or something like that, which is a very, very short fence, and what's the point in that? It would likely cost a lot less because I wouldn't need that many materials, but $25,000 is a good estimate for what we need. So I'm just going to leave it at that. If we look at this, it's totally screwed up. All right, there we go. If we look at this scenario, we can look at this and we can figure out the slope, the rise over the run, that sort of thing. If we look at this other company, we can do the same thing and create an equation that we could then graph. Let's start with this table because it's right here. So if we look at this table, we have an increase in cost of $1,500 for 10 feet. That means here we have an increase of 30 for an increase of 10, 50, minus 6, 7. We have 4,500. 4,500 over 30. The whole goal is we need to see if these are consistent rates. Hopefully they are. 1050, 18,000 minus 10,500. We get an increase of 7,500. Increase of 50. So hopefully, if I look at the rise of the run, 7,500 over 50, 4,500 over 30, 1,500 over 10, hopefully we have the same rate of change the whole time. So 1,500 over 10 is $150 per foot. 4,500 over 30 is 150 as well. 7,500 over 50 is also 150. So our slope, we're going to look at this in terms of y equals mx plus b. Our slope here is 150. Actually, here, let's rewrite this. Y equals 150x plus b. And so now I need to use this to find my y-intercept. So I'm going to go back to 0. So that means I'm subtracting 10 to get 0 for my x. I'm going to then subtract 1,500 from this, because when I added 10, I had to add 1,500. So now I'm going to subtract 10. So I'm going to subtract 1,500. That means I have 3,000. So my y-intercept is $3,000. Okay. This equation here that we have, one company charges a flat rate for materials of $2,000 and then $200 per foot. So this second company, we have this equation. Y equals 200x plus 2,000. So now we're looking at these two and comparing it to what it's going to cost me. These two, if I look at these two, this company up here as the word problem, this one has a faster or like a higher slope. I'm paying more per foot, but I have a lower starting value. This one has a lower amount per foot and a higher starting value. So just based on my gut instinct, if I had a lot of fence to do, this $200, this extra $50 a foot, is going to start to add up, regardless of it starting at a lower rate here. This one, if I were to look at a shorter fence, probably isn't going to be as lucrative or isn't going to be as pocketbook friendly, because we have this higher starting value. So if I have a short fence, this could be more expensive. If I have a really long fence, this one could be more expensive. Now let's look at all of the scenarios and put them in context of this graph over here. So I'm going to start out with this bottom equation. $2,000 is about right there. I'm going to increase by 200x. So first, let's put some context down here. I'll say this is 100 feet, 200, no, not 100 feet. I'll say this is 10 feet, 20. Well, that might not be enough. Let's go by 50s. 50, 100, 150. We'll go by 50s. So 50 feet, if I put 50 into this, what is the corresponding y value? What is my corresponding dollar amount? 200 times 50 plus 2,000 gets me $12,000. So now this is 5,000, this is 10,000, $12,000 is about right there. This next one, 200 times 100 plus 2,000 gets me 2,200. So here, 2,200. If I did 150, I'm increasing by another 10,000. So I'm going up to here. Okay, this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Here-ish. And so you can sort of see that line start. And it's a little shaky because not everything is perfect in there. $3,000 is just a little bit more above that. And I'm going to look at the same numbers. 150 times 50 plus 3,000 gets me 10,500. So 50, 10,500, 10,500. So that one's already cheaper. 150 times 100 plus, 150 times 100 plus 3,000 would be $18,000. 5, 10, 15, 18,000. My boy over there wants to watch Curious George. And the last one, 200 times 150 plus 3,000 is 33,000. So 25, please stop. Thank you. And that one's going to be a little lower too. So you can see this one, again, not a beautifully graphed equation. So essentially, if we have a fence that is in the low 100-foot range, both of these companies are going to be a better deal than what I can do. Whereas if we go to a much longer fence, which means a lot more work for me if I were to do it on my own, I'm going to be cheaper. All that being said, I would probably still choose a different company to do it for me because I don't want to be at fault for my fence falling down. And instead I can have liability insurance through these guys. But I would probably pay attention to which one is going to be the better fence company in the long run. And it looks like in the long run, this top equation ends up being cheaper overall for most situations over 50 feet. So check that out. Pay attention to the fact that we can look at tables, equations, and graphs and compare all of them at once. And then after that, we can play around with which one's going to be the best deal. There's going to be other situations that you're going to be looking at as well in terms of all of these sort of problems, but the whole goal is to look at your slope and your y-intercept and compare those each time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for participating in this lesson. We have a test in a couple of days. Be ready. Bye.